wards with extremely low incidence, meaning there is an absence. There is no incidents of this nature in the 5th and 7th wards. In September, there were no narcotics violations. In the 7th ward, no burglary, no theft, no public drunkenness. Why do I mention this today as part of my report? Why do I mention this? Because the things that are good and where there is an absence of things that are disruptive and disturbing and alarming, we have to really look closely and see what's happening different in those places than in the places where there's high incidence of narcotics violations, high incidence of burglary, theft, and crime. Is it always a one-sided issue? Not always. Sometimes the door isn't locked, sometimes all the doors are locked, and there's no way that there can be penetration by burglary. So we can take a simple lesson from that, but we can also understand that we are at war. You know, you hear these terms of Cold War and threats of war, rumors of war, but the world is actually at risk. You know, that used to be a term that was used for troubled youth. You know, we'd say we have troubled at-risk youth. But now we're looking at a time in our nation and in our world when we're actually at war in a time of peace, because the world has been placed at risk. One of the risks is the current war on opiates. This past Monday, there was a meeting here that was supported by a 501c organization and also Montgomery County, which has now opened up the distribution of Narcan for any citizen that has a need to have Narcan. I was at that meeting, and both my husband and I received kits just in case there was any incident where we would run into an occasion where we might have to save a life through the use of Narcan. At that meeting, there were close to 50 individuals that were here, and each of those individuals took a Narcan kit out of this room. They took an understanding that they were in for the win for the person's life. And it's good to hear that our police department is seeing the results of the availability and the training of Narcan distribution to them as a force. To take this to the citizen level, to make it available to people who have an identified need or to citizens who would like to help in saving a life. And the new mantra behind this is, if someone is sick with the addiction to heroin, the only way they can get better is if they're alive. So I just want to not only thank the county and Commissioner Arkush, who is a medical personnel co-signing on this and looking into the details in the background, as well as the police forces that have been trained, majority of which are in Montgomery County, have been completely trained. I was able to attend and as well host several events regarding information that was made available for people who were going to the polls to vote. This was an information session held by the Faith and Freedom Coalition. It's coordinated by Larry Denver in Pennsylvania, and this was held at Connections on High, and it was an event that expanded the regional influence in a continuous flow. You know, there's concentric engagement further than Pottstown, with Pottstown at the center. So for those who were able to attend, I would just like to thank them for a very, very resourceful, informative, and nonpartisan event. And those individuals came from Lancaster, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, Delaware, and many other locations. I would just like to congratulate the Citizens Leadership Academy as they continue to promote civic engagement by not only giving out information, but also encouraging increased momentum among the citizens on issues that involve Pottstown. As a result of everyone expressing their not only patriotism, but our civic responsibilities to vote yesterday, I would just ask, as this is being televised, that as a constituency, we realize today we can choose to reset. You know, I always look at things that are working as a battery. And a battery has two ends. It has a positive end and a negative end. And I feel that as we move forward as Pottstown, you know, hear the slogans, we are Pottstown. We are Pottstown, and we're well aware of our positives and our forward motions and the good things that are happening, but we cannot escape and we cannot be dull of hearing or sight that with every battery there's a negative end. And if that end works properly, the battery functions. If that end is rusted or corrosive, the battery does not function. Let's remember this in all of our engagements, whether they are personal, whether they're civic, whether they're spiritual, whether they're educational, whatever the nature, remember that there's good and bad, and the triage for the bad helps it to work and function. And I'd just like to mention once again the Equity First initiative, and I have some papers here that I'm going to leave here at the end. So what are we saying about education with Equity First? We know that the budget was passed. We know that it was heralded as an equal funding budget. And this is one of the misnomers in understanding that equal is not equitable. If you have underfunded districts and you have overfunded districts, the distribution has to be changed to allow the underfunded to come up in their receipt of funding. The only way you can do that is by changing the ratio of the distribution from equal to equitable. So coming up in the next budget season, I hope that we can be a part of the force of bringing clarity to stop the understandings of things that are not equitable, being promoted as equal, and damaging even our own receipt of funds here in the Pottstown School District. Thank you.